guess the only comment would be if we have a problem, just the dead animal removal, that I guess if we need to pay more, I'm for doing that. So to make sure there's no problems in that area, and there's already neighbors that, if there's a problem, we gotta keep up with.
Yeah, I believe our employee that we lost, basically we were paying $15 an hour, and the new job was almost twice as much. So we just didn't feel like we could handle that. Master Thompson?
I'm good, Judge. Thank you.
Master Constantopoulos?
Yeah, a couple things is just kind of echo Joe, I think, and what Robert said earlier. I mean, Mr. Curtis, if you've got any ideas as time goes on to help retain those employees, I think the court's open to entertaining any and all ideas for that. So, second thing is I noticed on the we got a new bills list which was generated through the computer system. So kudos to the finance department for getting that taken care of and streamlining that. And I talked to Alicia and I met Eric and Amanda this morning, and they said it saved them about an hour and a half of time by streamlining it. So
it's a lot more than that. I think that we got it done, and I don't think hour and a half that it would take us a day to do.
awesome. That's a great time savings on that. And then one other thing is that something to look forward, or something that needs to look forward to, is the I think I've mentioned this before, is just the computer systems. I mean, a lot of those computers are Windows 7, which are not supported anymore. And the finance department's being backed up on basically I call them 8-track tapes, which is kind of obsolete and stuff. So I know it's going to cost a little bit of money, but I think to preserve a disaster in the future, I think it's something that we definitely need to look at. So other than that, that's all I got, Judge.
Thank you, Daniel. Master Blanton?
A couple things. Last year in August, we accepted applications from the nonprofits for our fiscal court fund. I think they were due the last day of August, which was like the 29th or something. Is it the intent of the court to go ahead and authorize applications for August, because we haven't had that on an agenda? And if we need a motion, I'd be glad to go ahead and move that we open the application process for the fiscal court fund, and applications be due on August the 31st.
I have no problem with that. You're the other member of that committee, aren't you? Does that sound good to you?
I've had several ask me because they were expecting August again, and I told them that it wasn't on the agenda, but I would try to get some information. So if it's appropriate, I'll make that motion.
Well, motion's been made by Master Blanton.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion?
So applications will be due August 31st, and I guess we can get them, have them available in the judge's office for pickup. And that kind of leads me to my second. Let's just finish this one.
All those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
That kind of leads into my second question. I know the website is being updated, and we don't have an update on where we are on that, but I know it's on the website, but I think it's last year's application, maybe 2 years ago. So if we need to publicize that these applications are available. And do we have an update from anyone on the website? Because it's absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, we just had a website meeting. Was that last week or the week before? Unfortunately, Janet conducted it, and she's not here. But yeah, the process has been started with the department heads on updating their own pages, and so we're working with the company to get that started.
Maybe we could just put under construction, pull the whole thing down for now. I mean, it's
possibility.
It's outdated. I mean, only thing that's current is the agendas and stuff that's added to it. But aside from that, just about everything is wrong on it.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Look at it. At least please look at it. That's all.
Magistrate Davis?
Nothing, Judge.
Magistrate Elkins?
Judge, just thank you, and I'll say to speak to what Mr. Mayor had spoke to earlier about the planning and zoning meeting. I did attend that meeting, and just to give everybody who wasn't there kind of a summary of what happened, the planning and zoning had considered 2 documents to present to the fiscal court. They had a public hearing. After the public hearing, and because of public comment, they significantly changed one of those documents, and so it was decided that because of that significant change, that they probably should send the original 2 documents to the fiscal court with a recommendation for denial. I think we know that, and of course, obviously, the fiscal court can choose to take that up or not. Don't have to, I don't think, but I expect we will after the minutes have been approved of the planning and zoning meeting, as we typically do. But they are working on a new document, I think, that they will send to us at some point, and they'll let us know whether they recommend that document to be approved or denied.
Greg, to that point, I did speak with Rob Jeffries. He indicated to me he would hope to have us a recommendation to deny those 2 ordinances for our next Thursday meeting. Now, whether or not that happens, I don't know, but I did have a conversation with him, and we discussed what went on, and that recommendation, he told me and I'm like you, I'm not sure we have to act on a negative recommendation, but nonetheless, he said he would hope to get that to us for next Thursday's agenda.
Yeah, I think just from past experience, I think if the fiscal court doesn't act in 60 days, the recommendation becomes rule, I believe.
And it's negative, so there's no change, so.
Correct, so there'll be no change. So I don't think we have to do anything, but I expect we probably will anyway, but that'll be your call, Judge. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that process is moving. We'll see something from it pretty soon, I'm sure, but there really were some significant changes made to the original 2 documents that were being considered. I think they took the agricultural completely out and moved any potential industrial size solar farms into the industrial property only category. So that's a pretty significant change.
Magistrate Elkins, I wasn't able to personally attend, but I'd caught bits and pieces of it. But it's my understanding that they had recommended, because there was so much significant changes, is with that one you mentioned where they took out the agricultural and so forth, that they would suggest having another public hearing so there could be input put
That's
on
the way I
that.
understood it.
That's what they're planning to do. I think they determined from the public hearing that the original 2 documents they were considering, Clark County probably didn't have an appetite for those 2 documents, so that's why they're going to recommend denial of them. So they did make some significant changes. They probably will have another public hearing. I know the attorney for planning and zoning advised them to hopefully avoid a lawsuit. I don't know that that's realistic. I think it's possible that either side could appeal any decisions that are made. I don't know what lawsuit's the right word to use, but appeal. But anyway, that's all I have. I just kind of wanted to bring the court and anybody listening up to speed on where the process is. It is moving along slowly, sure enough, but it's getting there.
Now, certainly, as much as anyone, I would like for it to come to us as quickly as possible. I was under the impression that they wanted to vote to approve the minutes. Maybe you've had a different discussion, or maybe they're having a special meeting for all I know. But if that were the case, they wouldn't be here until the first meeting in August. So I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't know. Okay.
Maybe Rob and I didn't communicate well, but that was part of our discussion too.
Okay.
It appeared to be the desire of the committee to have it to us in July, whether that we take it up or not. That they even agreed that that's up to us.
Yeah.
But I think they did at least express a desire as a committee to.
Well, my desire was to have it at this meeting, but
Yeah, no. I think it was theirs too, but I think it's better
Yeah.
to do it correctly rather than to rush it. So.
okay. But certainly, that is taken. I agree with anyone who's got a complaint on how long that's taken. I know that we had COVID and, different people in different forms of government were a little bit more nervous about how COVID affected things than others, but I think it could have been handled quicker, certainly. But we'll keep moving on through the process, and hopefully everything gets done in the most correct way possible. I'd like to also mention some of the work that Eric and Alicia have done so far. It kind of goes into what Daniel was saying with the new bills list and how it was populated. But basically, now we are tracking through the finance officer in real time POs. So, for instance, if there is a PO from the fire department for $1,000, it's being entered in once we receive it in the finance office to the software, so that if the budget for some reason were out of whack, Chief Asbury couldn't submit something else and overdraw himself and make us have to make a transfer. We would know about it as soon as that next PO came in. So basically, we're doing real-time tracking now. I think that's it's a little bit of inside baseball, but I think it's going to be a big advantage to us so far as handling the budget and managing the transfers in the future.
Well done.
Next thing I have, and this is something that, I've discussed with Steve and I've discussed with Alan. I think Robert's been a little bit involved in it, but we would like to clean the awning over at the annex. It's got a little bit of black mold on it, or at least it appears to be black mold. We've received a couple of different estimates. In my opinion, they're pretty costly, $20,000-$30,000 range. Now, I know that's to do it right, and that's to do it the best possible way. Chief Asbury tells me that he thinks there's a chance that he can use our new ladder truck to do a power wash over there. Obviously, he thinks he needs to do a practice run somewhere, make sure he's not going to damage anything. I might accidentally bust a window or something like that. Just know that going into it. But with the potential to save $20,000, I'm inclined to think it may be worth a shot. But I want to make sure everybody's informed on that so that if a window does get broken or something, don't throw too much of a fit over it. All we're trying to do is save some money, and if it doesn't work, then we'll pay a vendor to do it to get it done. But I think it's worth giving it a shot. And Chief Asbury's here if you want to ask him any questions. He thinks it's something he can try to do.
Just a comment.
Sure.
I did approach one individual about giving us a ballpark, which was way out of the ballpark. And the other, back when we started the painting, I did speak with Buster Tucker, and I spoke with him again, and he's agreed to go over and do a test run on some of that. If we want him to, he's got some different types of cleaning solutions he thinks might work. But if Chief wants to try that, that's fine. And I don't know if it's black mold. To me, what that appears to be around that ledge is probably some sort of bird repellent that's gone bad and dripped over the edge. Because I know at one time, several years ago, they put something to keep the birds off of that
Really?
ledge. So I don't know what it is, but I do remember them putting something on that ledge.
Do you know anything about that, Sheriff? No.
I do remember it's been several years ago. But nonetheless, I'm fine with the chief giving it a shot, and if that don't work, Buster can give it a shot, and then he can give us a price that would be more accurate without just guessing.
I think it would be worth.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah.
At least to save the county $20,000-$30,000. Now, I'm not saying we can do it, we just need a little bit more time to.
You might kind of research some sort of solvent, cleaning solvent, and see what
I don't
you.
know if I could put any cleaning solvent.
You're just talking about water. You're just talking
Yeah.
about.
I'm just talking about water.
Okay.
The only concern I really have is we're putting a large column of water as opposed to a pressure washer, which is very small per size. We're talking about a very large column of water.
I got you.
Doing the same thing, so I think there may be potential for us to do damage to the
I got
building.
you. Well, if you see damage, stop.
Well, I actually spoke to the judge. We're gonna practice in a few other areas, before we actually come to the annex.
If you would like to speak to Buster, I'll give you his phone number, and you can feel free to call him and get maybe some preliminary advice about putting that heavy stream of water on that. He's done several of those in my conversations with him. He's familiar with those processes, so he may be able to give you some insight before you undertake the project.
Okay, that's all I've got. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We're adjourned at 10:54.
All right, Barbara, come here.